Hi, everyone, and welcome to Variant Readings. I'm Alec Fisher,
And I'm Jeff Kloha.
and we're going to take some time today to work through the Greek text of the New Testament. We're going to be looking at syntax and grammar, and in certain places where there is disagreement in the manuscript tradition, we'll look at those points of variation, all to help building up Greek skills, reinforcing some things maybe you know, maybe you don't know, and to talk just a little bit about what the text is saying to us.
And we're starting now a series of, I think it's 6 texts in a row, where we will be in First Peter. So just a little word of warning to those of you who haven't read First Peter in Greek. You probably did not get exposed to this in your introductory Greek class because it's some of the most difficult Greek in the New Testament. It's a bit more polished than you'd find in the Gospels or John or even Paul in some places. So there's a little complexity to this that we'll try to untangle, and as we walk through this, and some interesting textual problems, as Alec noted. So we'll get into it. Just a brief introduction on First Peter. It is I think a pretty important book to work through because it's written in a context that I would argue is kind of similar to our North American context, where again, when Peter is writing here, it's Christianity is a new religion and unfamiliar to their friends and enemies in the Roman Empire, and there's clearly a theme of suffering that you find in First Peter, and even organized opposition, which will come up later on. So some pretty interesting themes, and I think some pretty important themes. And I know it's not part of our text for today, which is 1 Peter 1, 3 through 9, but it is important how Peter starts in verse 1, where he calls his addressees in the dative case, always in the dative, the addressees to the letter, par epidemos. So sojourners is the word there. So he's addressing this letter to people who, if we can quote the old hymn, I'm but a stranger here, heaven is my home, right? This is not the place that we will abide forever. And so Peter will jump in right away in verse 3 and following to this living hope, this future hope. But in the present reality, it's one of being a stranger and alien. And so to the expectation of suffering and opposition comes out in this letter.
Yeah, very good.
So we'll see this even here in the first few verses and then throughout the letter. So let's just jump in. Verse 3.
Let me pull it up here for us.
Yeah, let's get a text on there. And again, we're using the Society of Biblical Literature, Greek New Testament, as our base text because you can download it and write on it and mark it up, that kind of thing. But there are several places where this is different from what you might have in your Nestle Aland, whether 27 or 28 editions. So we'll talk about that a bit. But let's do verse 3. Oilegetos hothaos kai pater tu kuriou hemon Jesu Christou ho kata to palu autu elaos anagenesas humas. Sorry, Hamas. I'm going to keep switching Humas and Hamas all the time here. Hamas, eis elpida zosan dianastasaos Jesu Christou eknekron. So maybe this is why this is selected for the reading of the Sunday after Easter,
right? Because
you've got the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. But let's walk through this. So, eulogetos hothaos. Now, this is a kind of a blessing, kind of a typical blessing addressed to God. And here he's called the Blessed One. You have to assume in this phrase, oilogetos hothaos, and I me, probably in the optative here actually, blessed be, may be blessed, God the Father. So notice you don't have an article in front of oilogetos because it's a predicate to hothaos. So it's not the blessed God, but blessed be God.
Right.
Okay. So you don't have the article in front of the oilogetos. Okay. And then it's just describing him. So these descriptors all in the nominative. The God and Father, pater, of our Lord Jesus Christ. Pretty straightforward.
All right.
And then the ha in the nominative, functioning a bit of a relative pronoun here, again referring back to ha theos, who, according to his great mercy, palou eleos, and then anagenesis. Interesting verb here, compound verb, ana giving you the again, and then genao, the verb being born. So who has born us again, or given us a new birth. So aorist active participle, the direct object, and who has given us a new birth. For what? Into, preposition eis there, elpida zosan, a living hope. Zosan, another participle for us there. And then the basis of this hope and how it came to us, di anastaseos Jesu Christou eknekron, through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And let's kind of be literal here. Eknekron is actually from the dead ones.
Yeah.
It's not just from the dead, as from being dead, a state of being, but you might actually say from the place of the dead ones, right? Others, everybody goes to the place of the dead ones, but somebody came out of it.
Oh, I see. That's interesting because I like to point this out in Bible studies as well because I think it's often received as like from death, right? I mean,
Yes,
I think that's how people
exactly.
hear it is raised from death, and it's like no. He is raised out of the dead. He is the one of the dead people that's been raised now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you wanted to import 1 Corinthians 15, the first fruits, right, kind of language. But it's that plural, the place of the dead ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is actually really important, especially along with what you said about the first verse. And I think we'll see even more of it next week's reading. But there is this strand because it's also there's a word that he uses at the beginning of the first verse, diaspora, right?
Yes,
and you see
right.
So John uses it, and you see it in 1 John. You see it in the Gospel of John. And that's where you see it. And then later on, he's going to take this whole idea of exile and put it together with resurrection language in a really incredible way with Isaiah 40. And that's next week. But I think it is important here to see this, that, okay, we're sojourners, and that means something as we are, right, in this broken world or something, but also for living in exile, right, in some sense.
Right.
And so, I think this from the dead ones is a really important point here.
Yeah.
So,
and I didn't notice this before, but anagenao, new birth, is kind of parallel to resurrection from the dead ones, right? It's a kind of in an anticipatory way, which will come up in verse 7. But I think it fits that general theme. Christ rose, and we will rise.
Right. That's right.
And so it's a living hope because Jesus himself rose to life.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now there's a flag on the play here, and a couple of them, actually quite a few through this reading, a lot of different points of variation. Autou eleos, so ta palu, autou eleos. There's some manuscripts that want to switch. They want it to be palu eleos autou, right?
Right.
So the great mercy of him, right, was just kind of a normal way to formulate that, and then in manuscript P72, which we'll talk about, in a little bit. We're actually going to show an image of that one here pretty soon. Hemas is dropped.
Interesting.
Right? So it's having given birth. like until living hope through the resurrection, right? So
Oh yeah.
it's not for us necessarily. It's just, or it's just a more. It almost makes it a more general statement, which I think is kind of interesting. Um,
Yeah, although it's an easy example of haplography. As it
yeah,
ends anagenesas,
right,
hemas, they have the same ending, and
right,
probably an easy I skip there in
yeah,
that place.
yeah,
It's
no,
only one manuscript that does it, so
right.
probably an accidental mistake.
Right. That's true. Yeah, and that is something that happens a lot, especially with omissions or as I like to call them textual absences. Right. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts on that verse there?
No,
Okay.
that's all.
I mean, we're building up too. We'll build up to. All right. Well, let's do verse 4, and again, in this one, I will play into what's coming later on in the chapter, also. Right.
All right.
So these alpha or negation adjectives, right? Okay, so let's just get into it here. Eis, klero, nomion, aphtharton, kai, amianton, kai, amar anton, tete remenein in renois eis humas. Okay, and so again, we've got kind of this. I think this ice mirrors what we saw before. Where? Oh, yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
So this the one that you had. So like unto a living hope or for living hope. Also, where this is a big run-on sentence. So toward an inheritance. So feminine accusative, inheritance, and then we get these three adjectives that all are negation adjectives.
Yeah, all with the used a fancy word here, alpha privatives.
Alpha privatives. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I like that. I'm going to adopt that one here. And so with all of these, and I kind of actually struggled with how to translate amianton because yeah, I don't know exactly what to do. So but maybe well, I suppose, all right, so imperishable, aphtharton,
Right.
and then
Right.
impure,
Yeah, I think it's usually rendered like undefiled.
undefiled. Okay, fine. And then not fading. I know it's the way that
Yeah,
is,
unfading.
right.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Unfading. Right.
You don't get the alliteration in English that you get in the Greek, unfortunately.
You don't, but I think it's important that those are all translated with, that alpha privative, that negation
at the front. Yeah.
Right. Right. So you wouldn't want to put those positively. Like it's important to put those in the negative sense, right? Okay. So an inheritance, imperishable. You said undefiled. Never, not fading, unfading, and then you get this perfect passive participle, right, with the reduplication here. Okay.
And the menos termination there. The men.
Oh yeah, the infix, which also again feminine accusative of tereo. So what? Having been guarded, having been kept.
Or I mean, again, you can't really bring the perfect in here, but is being kept or is in a state of being kept, something like that.
Is in a state of being kept. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that works perfect also, right? That's a perfect. In the heavens or in in the heavens. Now it's for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because the ice in verse 3, like you pointed out, is parallel to the ice in verse 4 and 3. They're parallel, right?
Yeah.
So kind of a further explanation, right? But then the last one in the sentence is, or written in the verse is, eis humas, right?
Yeah.
For your benefit. Yeah.
Right, and it seems like he's kind of going back and forth a few times here. It's almost like, I'm not sure. Do you think he's is there a difference, or is this, or like I'd say in Paul, like we talked about this last time, in Paul, I think that has major implications. Do you think it does here, or is he just kind of us, for all of us, and now I'm talking directly to you, kind of getting a little preachy, or
Oh, right. Yeah, you got a
you know?
humas there, or is it a hemos? Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it's only a couple of manuscripts that have the hemos. Well, he does start to shift in verse 6 to you language.
Okay.
So I don't think it's out of bounds to keep the humas here. That does make sense for the context.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah, you
right.
got the agalias, verb in verse 6. So that seems to be what he's running with here.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, maybe, what? Come to think of it, really, it seems like he's, God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
And then, and then he does the first person again, and then he seems to switch to the second person.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, now the sentence isn't over, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so
Well,
let's keep going
the
with.
sentence is going to go until the end of verse 9. I hate to tell you. So,
Right. That's right.
we're going to be actually, yeah, till the end of verse 9. So just kind of keep all this in your head for the moment
Yeah.
until we get done and try to piece it all together.
Right.
But let's go to verse 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So, tous and dunamai, sorry, theou, and then all these rus, right? Frurumenus.
There you go.
That's lots Omicron upsilons there. Theou frurumenus, diapistaos isoterion hetoimein, apocalypthenai, enkairo eschato, and that's the end of the verse.
Yeah,
but it keeps going.
You got the long ones
All
this
right.
time. It's good.
Yeah. So tous, accusative plural, referencing back to the humas, which I guess is another reason you need to keep humas there
Right.
in the previous verse. So who, and here an instrumental N probably, who by the power of God, not in the power of God, but by the power of God. And this is a great little participle here, present passive, who are, presently being guarded, being preserved, right? Yeah. So in this now state, it's kept in the heavens, but in the now state, by the power of God, we are being guarded through faith, diapistaos. Sounds very Pauline for a second here.
Yeah. Right.
Into, and here it probably is, I think, into, toward kind of this projection into or toward this soterion hetoimein,
Yeah.
a salvation. Hetoimos is usually prepared, but here modifying an soterion, a salvation prepared, ready, about to be. I think is how translations usually do this. A salvation which is ready or which is about. So you get this sense of nearness, right?
Yeah.
Pendingness to it. A salvation which is about to be revealed. So a nice aorist passive infinitive.
Yep.
With the theta eta and the nai gives you a pretty easy one to parse.
Yep.
Which is ready to be revealed. And then quite simply, in the last time.
Yeah.
Or maybe specifically temporal, at the last time. Or at the last moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I think you're, going back even to the being guarded or in a state of being guarded, right? That perfect, the participle that I was dealing with, and then having this, hetoimein, this. It's so you're currently being guarded, and your salvation is actually ready. Like both of those
Yeah.
things are
Right.
are
Right.
contemporaneous, right? They're happening at the same time, and at some point there's going to be a revelation then that brings it all together.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah, that I kind of skipped over a quick phoreo there. I think that only occurs, what, 2, 3, 4 times in the whole New Testament.
Oh,
So,
does it?
so it's okay if you had to look it up, right?
Yeah.
That's a pretty uncommon word. Phoreo, epsilon contract verb again.
Yep.
Protected, kept, right? Preserved, something like that.
Well, I thought it was interesting because I was looking through to see what. All right, so what is this verb mean? It can also be like held prisoner, and
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
like guarded, right? So it's, and I wonder
yeah.
if it wouldn't change the way that we see this if it was like guarded, fine, or so being shielded, guarded, being held prisoner, but guarded by the power of God. And if you said, if you translated
Yeah.
tous frorumenos, like together, I mean, it goes together, obviously.
Oh yeah,
but
it does.
if you-
Yeah, tus
if you-
fermentos, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So those being guarded by the power of God, rather than those
Yeah,
by
yeah,
the power of
the-
God being guarded or something like it.
Yeah, that's good. The prepositional phrase is nested between the article and the participle.
Yeah. So it really brings out the power of God is guarding you, right, through faith, like unto a ready salvation kind of a thing.
Yeah, ready to go salvation.
Ready to go
And-
salvation,
Yeah,
which will
Yeah.
be revealed in the last time.
and we should emphasize here, soteria, salvation is. I think we use it a little more narrowly in English, sort of like being saved kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But kind of my personal salvation sort of thing. But
Yeah.
but here, more often in the New Testament, it's sort of a cosmic thing.
Yeah.
And an all-encompassing kind of a thing. So it's not just that your faith is going to be revealed, but that God's ultimate act of salvation for the world will be revealed at the last day.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not your personal salvation that he's talking about, but again, God's final activity in which you are incorporated and guarded, protected, as you said, by faith. But it's not sort of a personal thing here. It's a cosmic thing that he's talking about.
Right. And you get to be a part of this massive, incredible thing. Yeah.
We could talk a lot about how the Roman emperors used this word, soteria.
Oh,
They called themselves
sure.
saviors, right? So they definitely saw themselves as important people over big things, right?
Right.
It's not a little personal word here.
Right. Well, and a lot of words like that, I think of like Russo is to herald, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
Evangelion is like good news. It's not like you found a $20 bill in the parking lot. It's like the
Right.
king has been born. This is good news.
Right.
Something huge.
Yeah,
we won the battle or
it's
something. Yeah.
a world-changing
Right.
announcement,
World changing.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good.
okay, and so now in our text here we've got a full stop, but really,
Yeah,
that's
it just
going to
keeps
bring
rolling.
us to we
Yeah.
now just have a relative clause.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and it probably, yeah. I mean, again, all the punctuation in our modern editions
Right.
are just that. They're modern insertions.
Right.
Occasionally, Greek manuscripts will have sort of medial dots or something to indicate some kind of pause and sense, but they don't really indicate. They don't have punctuation the way we have it. I'll put it that way.
Right.
They don't have quotation marks, right? Sometimes that becomes an issue.
Right.
So the editors are trying to help you out a little bit here. Is
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if you have your Nestle text in front of you, there is no full stop.
we don't
after
have one here.
eschato. It just keeps going.
Oh yeah, look
Yeah.
at that. Right.
Yeah.
It's funny because then it's got some interesting placed commas also in the Nestle text. That we
Yeah,
have
and then you
here.
drop some comments. Again, it's
Right.
trying to help
Right.
you or help us track through it so we don't get bogged down.
Yeah.
But those are just, again, editorial helps for the reader. Kind of think of them that way.
Right. Okay. So verse 6, it's short, but we're going to have a lot to do with this. All right.
Yeah,
so,
this is a mess here. Yeah.
So we're going to have to talk about this. All right. So let me just read it. Ein ho aga liaste oligon RTI deon Lup e thentes, ein poikilois pyros mois. All right, so we've got a relative clause here, a relative pronoun, which is going back to eschato, right? So it's in which or during which, and then
actually,
what?
maybe I think that's actually. I don't know if it's actually specifically en Cairo.
No?
I think it's referring back to the whole idea, right?
Okay.
That we have this living hope. It's prepared. It's ready. It's guarded. And so in all this, and that's probably why this edition has a stop there.
Okay.
In all this, basically verses, 3, 4, 5, we are rejoicing.
That's fair.
Or you are rejoicing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. And
yeah, so the ho there, the relative pronoun is referring essentially to the content of verses 3 to 5 and not a grammatical. I mean, it's grammatical,
right. Well,
the dative because of the N.
Well, yeah.
It's not a grammatical antecedent. Yeah.
And I do think it is notable, right, also that, a relative pronoun is relative because its usage is relative, right? So,
relative
so
to something else, right?
Just an important thing to think about, right? So it's like, all right, so when it's got a referent, it's going to agree with gender and number, but not necessarily case, right? And so here,
right.
I mean, here my eye kind of jumps to, all right, in Cairo, eschato, and then in ho, and it's like, oh, dative singular. But no, I think you're right. Yeah, the whole situation. All right, so in this whatever this situation is in, we got a present middle, right? You're filled with, and then you're filled with joy. You are
rejoicing, exulting,
right? So you are rejoicing in this, and then I think we get a very helpful comma. Now we have an adverb, oligon, for a short while now, and then it gets I deon, so a participle of dei, right? A present active participle. If it is necessary, and then this is where the interesting stuff all happens here.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
Okay, so if it's necessary, being sorrowful, aorist, having been sorrowful, aorist passive participle, right? And then this prepositional phrase, in all kinds, in all kinds of trials. And so here with the deon, we've got actually a variant. It's a point of variation here. The Nessie-Elan has estin in brackets here.
Right.
And that it kind of makes it a periphrastic with the to be verb. And a participle.
Well, actually, Nestle just has it as straight text. It's not
doesn't
even
have it in brackets.
No,
I thought I saw it in brackets.
No.
Oh, look at that! It's just in the main text. All right. Okay. So yeah. Oh, all right. All right. So it's just in the main text. So it's got S, and so it's a periphrastic. Now, a periphrastic. I know that's one of those words that people don't like to think about. I think especially like in Latin, it's a frustrating construction. But it just means a roundabout way of saying something, right? And we use periphrastics all the time in English. We use it commonly for our present tense, right? I am sitting, I am reading, I
walking,
am
whatever.
The to be verb plus a participle. So here, this is we got some manuscripts have this as a periphrastic, and this is what's in the Nestle text. And then also there's another change, or another difference. The Nestle text has an alpha here at the end.
At the end of lepithentas,
right?
Lepithentas, right.
So, and this might be a good time to do our daily parsing practice.
Manuscript of the day, or
manuscript of the day. Well, let's do the parsing first, and then we can jump to the manuscript. We're going to get a lot of stuff here out of this one word. Okay, all right. So this word, let's use a color that I'm not using here. Well, blue's fine. Hold on one second.
Yeah, while you pull this up,
Yeah.
I'll give you the way that I remember
Okay.
the verb lupo, right? It's if you're familiar with the lupus, the disease, right, which means essentially it's from the Greek word suffering,
Okay.
right? And so if you have a disease, you're suffering, and that's what this verb is, right? You're suffering, being distressed, right? Kind of a little way to remember it.
Okay. It's a epsilon contract. All right. Lupeo. Now this is an aorist passive, so it comes from the sixth principal part, and it's easily identifiable by that eta theta here. That's very sixth principal part. We don't have a past tense augment because it's a participle, right? So we don't have an augment. We've got our nt new tau infix. Because it's participle, and then we end up with our third declension endings, right? And so that's why you get the epsilon sigma or the alpha sigma. The epsilon sigma is going to denote, a nominative. The alpha sigma would denote an accusative. Okay, and so there's your parsing, right? A nice aorist passive participle. Remember the third declension endings for these, at least in the masculine and neuter, right? And then we can take this instance and look at some manuscript stuff, right?
Right.
So why don't you? I'll be pulling that up. Why don't you say something about that? Yeah.
And this is a good time to bring up that the Nestle 28th edition is for the Catholic epistles is based on a revised text, which was put out in a critical edition. I got one here in front of me, the Novum Testamentum Graecum Editio Critica Maior, which is a large project, international project to examine as many manuscripts as possible that are worth looking at, and then constructing a new text based on revised methodology, which we won't get into here. But just to give you a little, I'm just probably do a screenshot, Alec. I don't have all the technology that you do.
Yeah, that's right.
But it gives you, notice you got 2 or 3 lines of text and then a whole bunch of manuscript readings underneath that.
Right.
And so this updated edition has now adopted that accusative rather than the nominative, which we have in the SBL text on your screen. And we can look at the manuscripts and actually see this. So you want to do your magic here, Alec?
Okay, there is Codex Sinaiticus.
And I can't see it too well on my screen.
I can zoom in here.
Oh, there we go. Okay. And it's a little fuzzy. So we got 2 things here. So you notice the corrector of Sinaiticus. You see the estin written above, kind of in between the lines there. You see the deon. Of course, this is a majuscule script, so all capital letters. And there's the estin added by the corrector, not the original hand of Codex Sinaiticus. But then on to the next word. The word is split between the lines. Yep. You see the lupe on one line, and then the thentas, which is now the reading of the Nestle 28 text in the accusative, as opposed to the nominative that we have in the SBL text and in the previous editions of Nestle Aland. So similar sound is maybe part of the problem here, right? Alpha and epsilon are often confused.
Yep.
If you're kind of repeating this to yourself as you're copying, it might be an easy mistake to make.
Right.
And I didn't even check the support for this. There's actually a lot of support. Codex Sinaiticus, the original hand, as we see here, some other 0142, and then some actually pretty important minuscules like 6 and 424, 614. So yeah, some pretty substantial manuscript support.
Yeah.
But the other reading, and can you pop up the P72?
Actually, can we hold on one second on that? I just want to make a comment because I know that, if you're watching this, and you've seen manuscripts before, great. If you haven't, I just we should let people know these are available. These images are available online. We're going to link this to the video. You can look at this stuff, but I just want to make a couple comments because this is something that I didn't know until I started looking at manuscripts, and it might be kind of an odd thing for people. You notice this letter that I've written here, or not written, I've traced, and it looks like the letter C.
Oh, right? Yeah. Good.
I mean, we take this for granted, you know what I mean? But I thought people might like this is actually a sigma. So you might expect a sigma to look something like this. Well, that you don't see that in manuscripts. These are sigmas. They're called lunate sigmas because it's like a crescent moon, right? Lunar, right? So it's a lunate sigma. The other one that I just want to point out is the omega. So I'll click a different color for that.
Oh,
one,
yeah.
Right? And so people might expect to see this, right? You don't see that in manuscripts. You see this, right? So these are just some, features that I encourage you to look at these online and see what the script actually looks like. And of course, this is majuscule script from 4th century, right? Codex Sinaiticus. But just some things that we might take for granted that other people might be see as interesting or different or unexpected. So, okay. All right.
Well, I should point out, too, we're using low-res images and things here because of copyright, whatever, but if you have a chance to see this in the British Library in person, it's just a stunningly beautiful manuscript. I mean, it's large format, and the script is just beautiful. Yeah. You kind of can't do justice to it online, but if you have a chance to stop by King's Cross Station there at the British Library, it's a great thing to see, alongside Codex Alexandrinus, actually from the 5th century.
Right, which we talked about last week. Okay, let me pull up the other one.
Now, the opposite of a beautiful manuscript is what you're going to see in P72 here.
Oh, that's not fair. Here, this is P72. This is the earliest, or one of the earliest attestations of this text.
Yeah, I believe it's the earliest, certainly the earliest complete or fairly complete copy of 1 Peter.
Right. And these images come from the Vatican Library. You can see the watermark there, which is much lower resolution than what you see when you actually go to the website. The website, which we're also going to link to this video, incredible. You can go through and see. I also will link. Tommy Wasserman wrote an article on this from I think 2005, and it was published in NTS. I'm not sure that's available, but I know another forum is available. And so we can link that as well if you learn about P72, because it's not just a Bible manuscript, right?
Right. It's called technically a miscellany.
Right.
Has other texts besides, it contains 1 Peter and 2 Peter, but not consecutively.
Yeah.
And then Jude.
Right.
And what else is in this manuscript? Is it just the Melito homily is in here?
Is it? Oh, I don't remember. Is it?
I don't even remember. I should look it up.
Yeah. Well, check out the article. We'll put the article down there, and so you can see it. But anyway, is it very different presentation? Papyrus, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the Bodmer papyri. It's you can see this again. So let me zoom in to what we're looking at here, and again, the resolution on the website is much better. So I'm gonna want you to direct you to the website, but you can make out here. Look at that. Day on looks it's kind of got an alpha look to it, right?
Yeah, the way the delta's written. Yeah.
Yep. So I'll do these in different colors, and then here's Estin. Again, lunate sigma. Okay. Then pick another color. How about red? Just kind of butchering the. Well, I don't know.
Well, you're right about as well as described.
Look at the sigma. We barely got the sigma in there, didn't we?
Yeah, I had to squeeze it in to not break. You can't, it'd be awkward to put the termination on the next line, so we squeezed it in.
Right.
Yeah, but there you see clearly the S, right? Upethentes.
Right.
rather than tas, which you see in Codex Sinaiticus.
Right. So it's interesting, though, that, again, with this, we've got our SBL text has this reading, the P72 reading, and then the Nestle 28 has the Sinaiticus reading, right? So but now these manuscripts, it's interesting, and this is important too. Not like these manuscripts have changed in the last 15, 1600 years, right?
What's the difference in meaning, Alec? I mean, it might just be a phonological, confusion of sound or something, but I mean, is there any difference in meaning?
Well, let's go back. Let's. I don't think there is, but I do think it is kind of so to bring up our text again here. To me, the nominative is kind of like it's like a restart or something. All right.
Yeah. Right.
Going
so
with
picks up the you from the verb agaliasa.
Right. Versus the accusative is taking us. Isn't it taking us back to humas? I mean, is that the referent? I mean, it's the same. It's still the same subject person. I mean, not grammatically speaking.
Right.
So I don't know what else the accusative would be doing there besides this is just a run-on sentence again.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, now being sorrowful, right? So you're being shielded in the power of God, right, or by the power of the God, through faith for salvation, which is prepared to be revealed at the last time, right? In which you're still, filled with, But again, I guess I suppose that, agaliaste, right? This would be in agreement with the subject of that, right?
Well, I wonder if the difference would be with the accusative. You need to do the periphrastic again. You need to add a form of ime
that's interesting.
To really make sense of it. So if you are being grieved or being distressed, I think that's the difference.
Yeah. Interesting.
So it's kind of making a sharper break between the I on estin, if it is necessary for a little while, stop. You are being grieved by various testings, right?
Right.
Yeah, I guess that would be the difference, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any other thoughts on before we move on?
No. Keep. We're rambling on here.
Yeah. Going on a little bit longer than we expected, so that's fine. That's good. Can't spend too much time. All right, so now you're up.
Oh, various. I would just comment on peirasmois. The verb or that noun can mean temptation. It can mean tests or trials. And I think here it is indeed like trials.
Yeah.
Not temptations per se, but just trials that happen. And then you see that in verse 7, the trials, are you are proved genuine through the trials.
Right.
So the word can mean both, but here it's definitely got to be trials. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't prove genuine through temptation or something. Yeah.
Right. Now, verse 7. Now, this is, if you thought so far this is complex, wait till you get to verse 7.
Yeah, right.
So let's do a read and then take, I'll kind of split it up a little bit, although it's hard to do. The SBL text doesn't give you any stops, so you're just kind of rambling through. But you have to kind of nest a couple of parentheses here. Because there's little explanations of words as you go. So let's do this. So far, pretty good. Hina to dekimion, human tes pistaos. Let's stop there. In order that now dekimion is going to be a key word here, and we'll talk about the old ESV translation in a second here, and how they kind of mess this up, as we'll see. But here, dokimion is simply to go to our BDAG lexicon, our handy little Danker lexicon. He gives a gloss here of genuine or without alloy, right? And the definition, the meaning he gives is genuineness as a result of a test. So to go back to the parasmois in verse 6, you're tested, and then the testing proves that you are genuine, right? In order that the tested genuineness of your faith, which you're enduring in various testings in verse 6, right? So the tested genuineness of your faith, and then we can keep going. Now we're going to clarify what pisteos is. Okay, so now we're going to put a parenthesis here.
Yeah.
Politemoteron, a nice comparative adjective,
Right.
of greater value. The teron gives you the comparative. Greater value, and then cruciu to apolumenu diaparos de dokimadzumenu. Okay, let's kind of stop there.
Well done.
Okay. So of greater value, and the cruciu than gold, so it's a genitive of comparison.
Right.
It's kind of a nice example of a genitive of comparison.
Yep.
Greater value, and you know it's a comparison because you have the comparative adjective, right?
Right.
So greater value than gold. And then this is interesting. He says here gold, and now let's clarify this gold thing.
Yeah.
Gold, let's do another parenthesis, which perishes by fire, but is tested, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a little weird to say that gold perishes by fire, but you got to get the image of gold being refined, and the impure elements are burned off.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this changing nature to the gold as it's refined, and the impurities are burned off. I guess we can go back to the undefiled language that we had earlier, right? I guess that's picking that up. So gold, which perishes, and then the de, probably a concessive here, even though it is tested by fire.
Yeah. Well, here's one thing I just want to throw out there. Just gold. We could think about it as like the element gold.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But now, what happens if you read it as gold as in coinage or jewelry? I mean, it can be used that way. And so, what if it
right.
is like, all right, so it's not necessarily just being refined, pure or something, but it's actually being melted down. It is being destroyed, right? So you are destroying the coin,
and it takes on
or
a new
destroying
shape.
the right. I don't know.
Or maybe it's both, really.
Yeah.
You're removing the impurities in order to make it into something beautiful, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, I like that. That'll preach, maybe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's wrong, but it's a great sermon. Yeah. So.
Well, again, it's destroyed not in the sense of it disappears in the fire, but it's taken on a new shape. Its old form is changed into a new form.
Right, and I can even see like using like a Roman coin or something, or I don't know how many gold coins are, but something, it's. Something with an image you don't like, or some kind of decadence that you don't like, and now it's actually being destroyed, right? But the gold isn't being destroyed, right?
Right.
I don't know. So, just a thought.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go. We're dragging on here.
Yep.
All right. So now we pick up our sentence again. Your faith, taste. Pisteos way earlier in verse 7. We got our parentheses out of the way. Now we get to hierethe, a very nice aorist subjunctive passive from heurisco, to find or discover. You get the nice circumflex there to tell you something funky's going on, but the theta eta,
right,
pretty obvious aorist passive form.
Yep.
So your faith may be found, subjunctive, into, may be found as, maybe, praise and glory and honor at, I'd probably do this as a time when, and apocalypse Jesu Christu, at the revealing or revelation of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So you're kind of picking up the same as you get in Matthew with the the servants, right, who are praised when the master returns for being faithful. And so here the faith is found, is recognized, maybe is a way to put that, and results in praise and glory and honor
Right.
at the revelation of Jesus Christ, right? So these struggles seem bad, uh, but they through them we are proven genuine, preserved by faith, guarded by faith, and so therefore, it's not us doing the faithfulness, if you will, but God keeping us faithful, which is the whole point of verse 6. And then at the last day, it's finally revealed what it really is, and our faith results in praise and honor and glory, right? At the last day.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting. This have we had Timain? Have we had that root yet? That stem?
To honor? I don't think so.
It's
No.
gonna
Oh,
appear.
you mean the Alpha contract? Yeah.
Maybe that's next time it'll appear as it's going to talk about. And well, that's an important. I think that's going to be an important root in this passage.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I do think that there are. It's interesting. Some of these adjectives and nouns that are talking about this are very different than our negation adjectives up top, right? Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So now we're speaking positively.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. You got the three. That's a good
Right.
parallel. I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
That. Yeah. Three alpha privatives and then three positives here.
Right.
Yeah. That's good.
Right.
Yeah. Now we do want to pull up. We're going to do a little translation assessment here because the previous, or I should say, the first NIV version, the 1984, butchered this verse terribly. Right. So we're going to do a little screenshot comparing the NIV 1984 with the current NIV, and I split this up into a couple of lines so you kind of see how it's going. And what you see going on in the current NIV, they actually stick with the word order that you see in the Greek. These have come so that the proven genuineness, there's your dokimion, right?
Yeah.
In the right place, the proven genuineness of your faith. That's all good. But notice in the NIV 1984, proven genuineness doesn't show up until after the parentheses, and they have to add a verb to kind of make it make sense. So in the old NIV, these have come so that your faith, skip down, may be proved genuine.
Right.
In other words, it's sort of a might not happen or might happen, right? We're not sure if it's going to be proved genuine or not, so you better kind of deal with it. Whereas in the Greek and in the current NIV, it's a given. The proven genuineness of your faith, which is guarded, as we talked about earlier. It's not a question of whether it's going to endure. It will endure because it's being guarded by God. And then, because it's guarded by God, you get the credit for it at the end. Then it may result in praise, glory, and honor. And in fact, the NIV 84 has to add the conjunction "and" after genuine to try to make sense of it, which again doesn't occur in Greek. So I don't know how they butchered this pretty badly. I don't know if there's a theological thing they're trying to do here or what, because it just doesn't work grammatically at all. And again, they kind of silently corrected it in the updates to the NIV. So a good example of just kind of getting lost maybe, or I don't know if they have some kind of understanding of faith here that isn't helpful. But yeah, a good example of a translation kind of going astray, but then later being corrected.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh. Well, yeah. Well, you like to see that correction then, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the by the way, the ESV and the King James all pretty straightforward. You know, just like the present day NIVs. So I'm not sure why the 84 veered off that drastically.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well let's jump back up.
All right, we're almost done. The rest of it's
Almost
pretty
almost
easy.
done. Yeah, right. Yeah, it is. It is. Good. Yeah, we got through the hard part, got through the manuscripts, the parsings.
Yep.
Now verse 8. Okay. Hon uk idontes agapate eis hon arti me orontes pistoiontes de agaliaste kara aneklaleto kai dedoxamene. So they give us a full stop here at the before that, which is helpful, but it's still just a relative clause. Participle, idontes, from orao, right? Aorist active participle. So whom you have not, negated uk, you have not seen, you love. So the one whom you have not seen, you love.
Yeah, and I think the antecedent there is Jesu Christou,
Yeah, of
specifically,
course.
not
Yeah,
not
right.
God, right? Yeah.
Right. Which again, masculine singular doesn't have to agree with case, right? So all right. So
But I think
whom?
that is a good point because he starts off in verse 3, blessed be God the Father, but at the end it's the revealing of Jesus Christ and then whom you love, right? So it's specifically Jesus. I think that's
Yeah.
a pretty
And
significant shift there. Yeah.
well, and you haven't, and even though he's been revealed, you haven't seen him.
Right.
So
Right.
even though you haven't seen him, you love him. Nestle Alon 28 has a comma here, so it's like,
Oh yeah.
in not seeing him, but you believe pistoi ontis, so de, but believing you rejoice, or like filled with joy, but we talked about this before, right? You rejoice, and here it gets interesting, right? Kara, not all that strange. Rejoice with joy, right? Dative, feminine, singular, all right? And then we get these two modifiers for kara, right? An eklaleto kai dedoxamene. And the second one is just a passive participle, not all that complicated, right? So it's like this joy which has been exalted or glorified or something.
Yeah, which is in a state of
Which in a
it's a perfect,
state,
obviously,
and it's got
reduplication.
doxa, right? That's the
Right.
root, right?
From
Okay.
doxazo. Yeah.
It's in a state of being glorified. That's this joy, right? And it's got this.
Yeah.
It's got the feminine ending. Well, here, this is where it gets unusual. Is the modifier right before it, this adjective, right?
Yeah.
So inexpressible, but it's got an omega with the iota subscript, right? So what? What is it modifying? It doesn't. It's
Yeah, it looks out of place. It doesn't look like a feminine.
completely out of place, right? But looking it up, it's the only place in the New Testament where this word occurs, and
Okay.
the entry for BDAG, it's only got two endings on the adjective. It's like a first, second declension adjective, but it's got an adjective of two kinds for the endings rather than a three-ending adjective. So
There you go.
yeah. All right, very good. All right, last verse.
Last verse, bringing it home. All right.
Yeah.
So get a better look at this here. Kamidzamanoi ta telos tes pista asumon soterion sukon. So kamizamenoi, you see a very nice middle passive participle, middle form from kamidzo, and here it's probably a causative force or explanatory force.
Okay.
So because you are receiving, right? So you have the participle without the article. So yeah, because you are receiving, and what are you receiving? Telos, the goal, or I'd say goal is a good translation there, right? The end or the goal of your faith, and then you need kind of in a positive here, a comma, that is, or explaining further, soterion sukon, the salvation of your souls. You
Okay.
have to kind of supply a your there.
Well, yeah. Okay. So let's just stop. could it just be the salvation of souls?
Yeah, well, and of course the manuscripts futz over this all over the place.
Yeah. This isn't a variant that
Yeah,
SPL text
but
includes.
I think he's just being shorthanded here.
Okay.
The goal of your faith, the salvation of souls. I think it's implicit, at least, that it's your
Sure.
souls. And souls here, I would take sukon not in the sense of like soul as if this is a disembodied spirit thing, but
Right.
just you, right?
Yeah, right.
Your salvation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Salvation of people, that is you. Yeah. Yeah. So pretty straightforward. The only tricky thing I think there is the participle, what you do with that, but I think it's definitely explanatory.
Yeah.
And that explains why you are rejoicing, and because that's the goal, that's the end result, and that's faith. All right. So faith is a pretty prominent theme here.
Yeah.
Obviously, and again, very nice, kind of like we saw last week in Colossians, a very nice now, not yet passage.
Yeah.
Now we have these testings, we have these trials, but at the same time, it's protected, it's guarded. I mean, it's very similar to actually the Colossians passage last week. And same kind of revelatory language at the last day. And then in the present day, I really like verse 8, whom not seeing you love.
Yeah.
And it's striking that he has the love there, right?
Yeah.
Loving Jesus specifically, even though you don't see him.
Yeah.
Again, it's now, not yet. And not seeing you, you are believing, rejoicing, right? It's good. Yeah, so it's, again, a really nice passage on confidence. I mean, at verse 4, inheritance language, which makes sense given that we call God Father. So if he's our Father, he gives us an inheritance in verse 4. And it's a pretty awesome inheritance because it's undefiled and all those things. It's guarded. It's kept, just waiting to be given, at the appropriate time.
Well, yeah, because it exists right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that's the foundation for love, right? We can love because we have this faith, this confidence. We can love Jesus, even though we don't see him, because we know, we have faith, right? And maybe I shouldn't even use the word know, because faith is not a knowing thing. It's a trusting thing, right?
Right.
And so we trust in spite of the not seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Any other kind of thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I think, again, I think it's, again, just like we started this, the whole bit about Jesus, we've got a living hope through the resurrection of the dead, or the resurrection of Jesus from the dead, or out of those who have died, and I think he's still building, right? So we take these in pericopes, right? But he's building up to something even bigger, which is really neat. And I think you're right especially about comparing it to Colossians. Like, this is Peter's way of saying a lot of what Paul was saying in the last one. I mean, this is just, and that's what's so cool about this. It's like it's the same situation, and two people writing about it in their own ways and really getting at the same thing with very different language. Right? Yeah. Which is pretty incredible.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who made it all the way to the end, the special bonus prize is, you get to have dinner with Alec or something. I don't know.
Right. Well, you're paying, so
I'm paying. There you go. It's on my credit card, so it's all good. Yeah. So thanks for tracking along. Next week, if you want to look ahead and get ready, we're going to be looking at the next reading. So the lectionary skips over, maybe oddly, verses 10 through 16.
Right.
And we're going to pick up chapter 1, verse 17 to 23. And it looks like stopping mid-paragraph. So we'll see if we want to do that or not. But
no, I think we're going to have to pick up that last 24, at least in the conversation. So
yeah, you kind of need to finish the sentence anyway, right?
Right.
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and
Yeah.
we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see ya.